Hello everybody, you all did a great job of your equivalent fractions yesterday. A few questions popping up, but actually you did a really good job. Today we're going to look at simplifying fractions, which is quite similar in many ways to equivalence, but if we're simplifying, we're going to be looking at making the fraction as small as it possibly can be. So let's have a look at what the Discover is about. So we've got Lee and Bella playing a computer game, and they're trying to get the sheep and the cows into the pen. Now, they've said, player one, get the cows into the pen, which is Bella's go. Now, she has got, you can see, 2 cows in the pen and 2 cows left outside. So how many cows are there altogether? She's got 4 cows and 2 are inside the pen. So what's her score? Can you give your answer as a fraction in its simplest form? That's what we're going to look at first. So how do we write that 2 out of 4 as a fraction, and then how do we simplify it? Lee manages to get 9 out of the 12 sheep into the pen. So what's his score? And again, we're going to simplify his answer. So let's have a look. So here are the cows. 2 of them are inside, 2 of them are out. So she has got 2 out of 4, and as a fraction, you can see that's written as 2 quarters. It's also shown as a bar model. 2 out of the 4 are shaded in because that's how many she's got into the field. Now, if we want to find a fraction's simplest form, we divide the numerator and denominator by a common factor. Now, we've looked at common factors before. These are numbers which multiply together to give that number. So common factors of 2 and 4 are, we could divide by 2, couldn't we? So if we divided them both by 2, we would get a half. So that means 2 quarters written as its simplest form is a half. Now, I often encourage people, when you're looking at this sort of question, is that if you look at the denominator and the numerator, so in this case here was our denominator, we had a 2, and our numerator was a 4. And I say to people, which times table are they both in? They're both in the 2s, which means we could divide them both by 2. And that's a really straightforward way of thinking. What's a common factor? What can I divide them both by? So 2 quarters can be simplified to a half. Bella's score is 1/2. All right, now Lee, he manages to get 9/12 of sheep inside the pen. So this time, let's have a think. 9/12, 9 and 12. Which times table are they both in? Are they in the 2s? No. 3s? They are, aren't they? 3, 6, 9, 12. They're both in the 3 times table. So to simplify 9/12, put it into its simplest form, we can divide them both by 3. Okay, so as shown here, look, if we divided 9 by 3, we got an answer of 3, and if we divided 12 by 3, we got an answer of 4. So now it's in its simplest form. Now I know it's in its simplest form because if I look at 3 quarters, which is what we've turned it into, and if I look at the numerator and the denominator, are 3 and 4 both in another times table together? No, they're not. They're not both in the 2s, they're not both in the 3s, they're not both in the 4s. So therefore, you know that fraction now is in its simplest form. It can't be made any smaller. So Lee's score is 3 quarters. So 9/12 was the simplest form, is 3 quarters. So they represent exactly the same amount. 9/12 is showing the same as 3 quarters, but one is just written in the simplest, smallest form that it can be. Okay, so Bella and Lee, they play some more rounds of the game. So what scores do they get? Use the diagrams to help you simplify the fractions. This is a little bit like the work you're going to do today. So Bella now gets 4 out of 6 sheep in the pen. And you can see 4, 6, they're both in the 2 times table. So we could divide them both by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Oops, there's a big 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that shows that if I was to shade in here, I would shade 2/3 because that is the same as 4, 6, but it's in its simplest, smallest form. All right, have a go here then. Lee gets 5 out of 10 cows in the pen. Have a pause the video and see if you can work this out. So 5/10. They're both the 5 and the 10. They're both in the 5 times table. So divide them both by 5. Pause the video. Okay, what did you get? So if we divided 5 by 5, let me find my pointer, we get an answer of 1. And if I divide 10 by 5, it's an answer of 2. So 5/10 is actually the same as 1/2. So I would just shade this side. Okay, now 9 out of 15 geese in the pen. Now this hasn't done anything for you on this one. You've got to think carefully. 9 and 15, which times table are they both in? Let's think. Are they both in the 2s? No. Are they both in the 3s? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Oh, they are, aren't they? Both in the 3 times table. So that means I can divide, oh sorry for the big line there, I can divide them both by 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So this time, the simplest form of 9/15 would be 3/5. So I could try and divide this up. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. So there's my fifth. I've divided it into 5. And then I would shade but 3 out of the 5 to show the same as 9/15. Okay. Now these ones are exactly the same. Simplify them. Which times table are they both in? What would they be written as their simplest form? The 6 and 8, they're both in the 2 times table. So if I halve that, divide them both by 2, 6/8 would become 3/4, wouldn't it? Because that's the simplest form that I can write that as. Now 10 out of 100, 10 hundredths. Which times table are they both in? Both in the tens, aren't they? So let's divide them by 10. So 10 divided by 10 is 1. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So this is the same as 1/10. So in its simplest form, 10 100ths is written as 1/10. I don't know why my lines keep disappearing. It's got a mind of its own, this computer. Here we go. Now 7/7. 7/7. They're both in the 7 times table. The 7/7 we know is the same as a whole, isn't it? If I had a pizza and divided it into 7 and I ate all 7/7, I'd have eaten the whole pizza. Okay. All right. So let's take a look then. Now I've put here the challenge that sometimes I leave up on the board for if you get finished. Now I'm not going to work through this with you now, but if you finish the work today and think, oh, I want to do a little bit more, I want to push myself, then you could come back to this slide and have a go, write the answer on a piece of paper. If you want to send them in, I'll have a look at them for you. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. You can come back in a minute and pause it here if you want to do it later in the day. So here is your work for today. Again, you're going to be looking at making them into the simplest form, as small as you can do it. So just think about the times tables that they're both in. What can you divide them by to make them smaller? And use that knowledge as well to help you with what you need to shade in. So that particularly applies to question number 4. It says shade in the shapes to show the fractions. Now part A shows a triangle. It's got 2 bits, but it wants 10/20. So before you shade that in, you're going to have to put that into the simplest form in order for you to then know how much to shade. So just be careful with question 4. I should put a top tip there, I think, for that one. All right, good luck. Send me some photos when you're finished, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.